Hey, what's up? Happy Sunday. I've been asked in a message to go over a couple things to help uh, people understand some stuff a little differently. And one of those is Daniel 9:27, and the other one is over in the book of Matthew, chapter 24, and we'll get into that here in a minute. But Daniel 9:27 is one that a lot of people look at because it talks about the abomination, desolation, and referring to like the Antichrist and things like that. So we look at it. It says, "And he shall confirm the covenant with many for 1 week," talking about the Antichrist. "And in the midst of that week he shall cause the sacrifice and all things to cease. For the overspreading of abomination he shall take it and make it desolate," talking about the abomination of desolation, "even until the consummation, and the determined shall be poured upon the desolate." Okay, now the Antichrist is going to set up his image in the new temple, the third temple, which has not been built yet. And the third temple, a lot of people are looking for the third temple. It's going to be built anytime. Actually, if you look at it and study it in depth, the third temple will not be built until the tribulation time, where Elijah, when he comes back with one of the two witnesses, will initiate the building of the third temple. Okay, so in this it says the final 7 years of Daniel 9:27 have not occurred yet. A lot of people believe it's already occurred. A lot of people already believe that it's going on right now. We're in it. No, it has not. And it says, and it will, when the coming of the prince, the Antichrist, forges a 7-year peace treaty with Israel and then breaks the treaty in the middle of the 7 years. At that point, a terrible tribulation will be unleashed against Israel that continues for a long time, 1 year, 2 years, and a half, and a year. So that's 3.5 years. And it talks about that in Daniel 12:7. And then when the 7 years are concluded, the Messiah will return and thus complete Daniel's 490-year cycle that will bring everlasting righteousness to the earth. Okay? Now, you have the two separations in the tribulation time. You have the tribulation at the beginning, and then you have the great tribulation, which is the last 3.5 years. It's divided up between 3.5 years, which makes 7 years. So the abomination and desolation is when the Antichrist will get into the temple. He will set up his image in the Holy of Holies, in the third temple, the new temple that has not been built yet. And he will call himself God in this temple. People will come in and worship him. And the beast, the false prophet will implement the beast inside that, the figure inside that Holy of Holies, to supernaturally come to life. So people will come in. Some people think, well, AI be a part of this. Some people believe demonic powers are going to be in this, which they will be, to cause all these things to go on. But people will come in and worship this. Now, back in the old days, if you look way back, when they used to sacrifice pigs on the Holy of Holies seat to be an abomination to God, some people actually think that the Antichrist will do that. But that's a kind of a Jewish custom, a Jewish view on certain things, like a Messianic view on certain things, not so much the other view. But the desolation and abomination of it will be him setting himself on the holy seat and saying that he is God. So that's what Daniel 9:27 is really pertaining to in that time frame then. So if we switch over here to Matthew, I know you had a question on about fleeing. If in this time, how are we going to be able to run and flee? And a lot of people can't do that and all that. But that's not referring to the church. It's not referring to the church. This is also going to be in the tribulation time. When we look at this over here in Matthew, especially verses 16, 20, chapter 24, verses 16 through 21, and it says, let me see here, and then let them that are in Judea flee into the mountains, and let those that are on the housetops not come down and take anything out of the house, neither let him which in the field return back to take his clothes. I know that's what was your question on this. So it says, Christ instructs those living in Judea to flee to the mountains. Christians living around in the area, now this is referring to around 70 A.D. Christ did not return in 70 A.D. like a lot of people believe. That's a false teaching. Don't believe that. There's a lot of 70 A.D.ers out there, and it's wrong. Get away from it. But they had the destruction of the city in 70 A.D. The temple was destroyed in 70 A.D., right? So he was warning them back in those days, they don't come into the city. Why? Because the Romans were on the warpath. They were destroying everything. So people got out. They ran away. Don't go back home. Get your clothes. Stay away. And if you continue on, it says it was during the Jewish revolt at this whole time when the Roman legions marched towards Judea and the Jewish revolt. They escaped to the mountains in the region beyond the river Jordan and eventually settled in Pella, where they built Christian communities. Okay, Now, in this, the reason why they did this, and it says that for those that remain, it's a very bad time, and it's kind of referring to some other things there as well. According to history, there was a famine that was so severe that people were boiling the shoe leather on their sandals and things to eat it, to try to eat it, because it was made out of animal. And then it says the bandits would invade homes. They would actually take food out of people's mouths. They would open your mouth and rip the food out at this time. They would torture you. They would beat you. If they found you with any kind of money or anything, they would rob you. And it says the children suffered the worst. Christ gives warning to those that are pregnant and nursing babies in those days. And it says, finally, Christ told them to pray for the abomination that would not happen in winter or on the Sabbath. Because in Jerusalem, it says 2,500 feet above elevation, right? And it gets a lot of snow in some areas. So if it's the winter time and you got to flee, it's gonna be cold, especially if you can't go back and get your clothing or anything. This is what he's referring to back in this time frame. So, and in Jewish custom, you were on the Sabbath, you were not allowed to leave a very far away from the vicinity of your home. Okay, you had to stay close to home, and the Jews, they still observe this today on the Sabbath. Everything shuts down. There's no businesses open. They don't go very far from their home. They stay home and usually pray in supplication in that way. So it said Christ told them to pray that it would not be on the Sabbath because of what I just talked about. But if you look at Christ's day, they traveled up to about a mile a day after Christ's ascension. The disciples did during the Sabbath. So, and then it says the same things mentioned here will repeat during the tribulation and the great tribulation. Okay, so why am I saying this for? What's this have to do with Daniel 9:27? Because during the abomination of desolation, when he sets up his image, there's going to come a time where the Jews or blinders are going to be removed, and they're going to see that the Antichrist is not the Messiah. He's a liar. He's a fake. He's evil. So his attention will turn to them. And it's going to refer to them to run away, get away. Don't go back home and get supplies because it's going to be a horrible time. Don't run back and say, oh man, I got to get this. I got to get my food. I got to get money out of the bank. No, get out of here. Run, because he's going to destroy you. That's what he's seeking to do. So it could be cold. Pray it's not cold at that time, just like it was back in around 70 AD. Pray that you're not pregnant during that time because it's going to be a hard time. But escape and get away. And you notice in Revelation, I talked about this, I don't know, 4 or 5 videos ago, that they will escape to a city called Petra. And they will be supernaturally protected. And the Antichrist will look to them to destroy them and flood them out, because Petra is a flood zone. I got that video on here as well. But they will be supernaturally protected. The earth will open up, talks about in the book of Revelation, and devour the water, supernaturally protecting those people. So God will restore them and protect them during this last 3.5 years of the tribulation time, away from the Antichrist, where he was going to destroy them. So there's a lot. It all goes together in the Bible. When you look at Daniel 9:27, you look at Matthew 24, you look at over in Thessalonians chapter 5, and it talks about, a lot of people are saying peace and safety right now. And, peace, safety, Donald Trump's over there in the Middle East, and a lot of peace and safety is going on with these Abraham Accords. All this is setting up Bible prophecy. God, when we have the elections here in America, the person that's going to win God is going to use that person for a purpose, just like he used Joe Biden for a lot of things. And you're going to use Donald Trump for a lot of things. Love him or hate him, God's plan is in this stuff. So, we got to see it, and we got to acknowledge it, and we got to be praying and discerning these times right now, as watchmen or watchwomen in these times, because there's a lot going on that we need to be paying attention with. So, but those are good questions. I hope I answered your questions. I know you had some concerns about some stuff there. So it all ties together. It all goes together. But with the peace and safety, that time frame will be in the tribulation time, where people are screaming peace and safety, looking for security in things. And they will not find it. And all of a sudden it will come upon them rapidly, just like the flood in Noah's day, just like the fire did on Sodom and Gomorrah. Have a good day.